Tonight, we're looking at some of the issues you're talking about during this election, but which the federal parties seem to be ignoring. It's easy to feel bad for the little guy, the underdog, but what about the big guy? 80% of Canadians live in big cities, and cities fuel the country's growth. But where are the political promises for cities? Don't roll your eyes, Canada. Toronto has needs too. Here's Adrian Arsenault.
22 minutes after 6 o'clock on CBC Radio 1.
It is ugly early. Crawl back into bed kind of early. And a rare moment when one of Toronto's busiest intersections isn't. Not above ground anyway. Below, behold the Bloor-Yonge subway station, the busiest in the system, and it's the morning panic.
Please step inside, please step inside.
No, Toronto isn't asking for pity, knows it won't get it. But transit here is stretched to a point where it genuinely takes uniformed cops and virtual cattle rails to get through rush hour.
Please help make TTC the kind of race file.
This is normal. Yeah, I get the first one in, the little guy comes behind, or push them both in first. One time, actually, the train the doors closed, and I had to pull him out.
Herding was supposed to stop people from getting clogged on the stairs, keep them moving, shave crucial seconds.
Another set of stairs, an escalator on the other side, escalator only, please.
Time matters because between drivers and public transit, the average Toronto commute is 80 minutes, longer than New York, London, and LA, ranked among the worst in the world. Stressed out supervisors need help.
Money, help with expansion. We're a growing city. We're moving north, east, west. We need to expand out to those areas.
And yet, do not expect a word about that from federal party leaders this election.
Oh, federal, they don't even know Toronto exists. I always say that Toronto is the city that the rest of Canada loves to hate, and the federal government proves it. What have they ever done for our transit?
Where do you get your patience from, Diane?
I don't know. Old age, I guess.
Like the subway.
Yeah.
A two-train wait, and Diane Hart finally squeezes onto the third. Swelling ridership, aging system, sporadic funding, not technically the federal government's jurisdiction or problem, but any substantial fix will need serious federal help. On that train heading out, a transit campaigner who calls Canada embarrassing. The only country of Canada's size and scope on the planet without a national transit strategy, without a real hint of one.
It means that we're the only country that doesn't have our federal government chip in for more than just pet projects on transit. It's the everyday cost of running the system that is where we really need help. And to leave that to property taxpayers doesn't do it.
Metro Toronto contributes a fifth of the country's GDP, never mind a huge voter pool. But help? No one expects it. Torontonians get it. They understand that regardless of the rational explanations about serious urban issues here, transit chief among them, that Toronto's problems just don't rank very high on the political priority lists across the country. But consider this. Consider that it's not just Toronto's problem. This is Montreal, and like every other city in the land, it too complains of feeling politically neglected. Only here, the infrastructure issues are dangerously dreadful. In a place where crumbling concrete is practically a city symbol, collapsing infrastructure has literally killed in Montreal. Most worrying now, the Champlain Bridge, Canada's busiest and frankly most desperate. Engineers have concluded a collapse can't be ruled out. It should be replaced as soon as possible.
La 20 Est en provenance de l'aéroport.
Look at the bridge here. Look at the bus to the left here. Look at the cars to my right.
They're not even on the road. They're just on the shoulder.
Not just a nervous commuter. Martin Fortier lobbies the federal government, which owns the bridge, to replace it. Instead, the plan is just to repair it. Cheaper, but not an answer, he says.
I don't understand why our politicians don't take this thing very serious. But I know that there's a question of money. But when your roof is over at your house, you find money.
A new Liberal promise is to replace it, but Quebecers have doubts.
Passenger mobility between the two shores must be ensured.
Almost weekly, there are pleading news conferences urging the feds to dig deep, to pay genuine attention all year long. And if the safety argument doesn't sell it, the financial one might. $6 billion is the countrywide estimate of all these commuting delays. These sprawling and now crawling cities contain the bulk of Canada's business and the bulk of Canada's voters. At the end of the day, the urban cry, don't forget that. Adrienne Arsenault, CBC News, Montreal.
Another group of Canadians trying to make their voices heard are Canada's newest voters, young people, maybe voting for the first time in their lives. But many say no one running to lead this country is listening to their issues or saying anything relevant to them. Joanna Remiliotis has that.
You have a minute to take a quick political test. Do you have a few seconds for a quick political test? It's called Name That Politician. Name that politician. Who's that?
Just when they thought exams were all they had to worry about, we show up with a pop quiz.
Ready? No idea. No idea. Who's that?
No idea. Don't know. Oh, God.
Don't let all the shrugs and blank looks fool you.
What's his name?
These are among the most educated of young Canadian voters. But when it comes to civic smarts, it's as if many can't be bothered to even crack a book.
You know that there's a federal election on May 2nd? You know that there's an election on May 2nd?
Ilona Doherty is out to change that. 4 elections ago, she created a group called Apathy is Boring.
I think that all of their views are quite stupid.
If you don't vote when you're 18, the likelihood is that you will never vote throughout your life. So we're looking at 20 or 30 years from now, only 37% of the population voting. And we think that's a major problem for our democracy.
37.4%. That's the percentage of young voters who cast a ballot in the last federal election. That means 800,000 young people didn't vote. And that's the equivalent of about 10 Canadian ridings not casting a single ballot.
We need to connect politics and democracy to young people's lives. They need to feel like their views are represented, but also that those issues really affect them.
Elizabeth May.
Judy Sutton.
My colleague Matthew.
Stephen Harper.
I'm glad you got that one.
And even those who can name the leader often feel none of them actually speak to them.
I just don't want to vote.
Why?
That's not my thing.
It's not that they don't care. Maybe they just don't feel like their vote will have any effect on anything.
But listen to why this young woman says she'll vote.
Because I saw the Rick Mercer report, his rant, and honestly, that was what did it.
Really?
Yeah.
You weren't going to vote before?
Yeah, I don't really vote.
This time around, do the unexpected. Take 20 minutes out of your day and do what young people all over the world are dying to do. Vote.
This recent Rick Mercer rant is sharp, funny, but what may be even more important, it's online. At Apathy is Boring's Montreal headquarters, an online social media assault is the tool this time around.
We're hoping to create a snowball effect, a sort of viral video effect with the message so that people can go out on May 2nd, make a difference.
And they're not alone.
Vote, just vote. Everybody has a say.
I thought you'd never ask.
Website after website is cropping up, making national pride seem almost sexy.
I like hockey too.
All with the same basic message.
We are not celebrities.
But we still hope that you will vote.
Social media is how many credit Barack Obama for getting the youth vote. And if our campus quiz is any indication,
Barack Obama.
That's a strategy that worked. It's how AJ Puri got hooked. So hooked, he even went to the U.S. to volunteer on Obama's campaign.
He was trying to make it people-powered, and I liked that approach.
And get this, Puri came back so passionate, he launched his own online election campaign. And he's taking it to a whole new level. Here he is, Masala Man.
You have the power to vote.
Puri's spicy alter ego.
May 2nd!
Along with his other superhero friends.
We all have the power to vote.
Make sure you guys vote.
I want you to use your vote.
Masala Man is out to do what it takes to grab young voters' attention.
I just set this up yesterday, 12 hours ago, and we already have like 15 people who are part of the process.
Yeah! You hot!
Whether it's stunts like this or social media, it's all about the message. Vote is not a 4-letter word.
May 2nd!
Team Future!
Joanna Remiliotis, CBC News, Toronto.